Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, where we talk about books and beyond. I'm your host. I'm Renee, co-host here. Her name is Raina, and she is ready for a snack, of course. And I am ready to do a tag for this Tag Tuesday. This one is a very special tag, so let me tell you about it. This is the booktube community joy and gratitude tag. And this is an original tag that was created by Pat at Book Chat with Pat. Of course, links will be in the description. And this was created by her in celebration of her having reached 2,000 subscribers. She said that she recently reached the 2,000 on BookTube, which is completely mind-boggling to her. I don't think it is for the rest of us, Pat, because we really think that you're great. We think your channel is great. So, hey, so do 2,000 other people. We're not surprised by that at all. She said, I thought I'd like to create a short tag that would express how I have come to feel about the BookTube community. So, let's get started with the prompts. The first prompt involves joy. So she has some different quotes here. So the first one says, let's be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. So the first one is name an author whose books bring you joy or discuss a specific book that made you feel joyful. So I'm going to show a specific book that has made me feel joyful. I read it fairly recently. I read it this year, and that is called Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelley Van Pelt. And I'm wondering, do you think that that's because there's an octopus as one of the main characters? Well, yes, I think that's part of the reason, but it's also a very warm-hearted story. The octopus does play a part in the story, but don't animals always play a part in our lives? And even if you don't own a pet, I bet you like to see animals in the wild, in movies, or even on YouTube. I think Raina deserves another treat for that. So anyway, animals bring joy. So the octopus Marcellus, his name is Marcellus, is certainly no exception. And I have my own little version here of Marcellus. It's a little crocheted octopus that my sister made me. So I named him Marcellus. And Raina, I love you very much. You bring me joy all the time. So the second prompt is discuss something about YouTube that you find joyful. So I'm going to answer that question with a quote of my own. And this is from Aristotle. And it says, a true friend is one soul in two bodies. And now that quote kind of made me think of YouTube a little bit, because on YouTube, we're many different people. We come from all over without really knowing each other's backgrounds or families or what our lives are even like outside of YouTube. Yet I often feel a closeness to the people who watch my videos and those whose videos I watch on a regular basis. We're united by our love of books, and that doesn't mean that we can't talk about other things occasionally, or that we can't maybe disagree on the merits of a particular author or book, but the books and the love of books are the way that we connect to each other, and finding that kinship with somebody else does bring true joy. So it's kind of like one soul, two bodies. So the next prompt is prompt number 3, and this one involves friendship. And it says, kindred spirits are not so scarce as I used to think. It's splendid to find out there are so many of them in the world. And that quote is L.M. Montgomery, and it's in Anne of Green Gables. So the quote kind of says it all, but it also brings up a good point, and that is that sometimes you have to put yourself out there a little bit to find the friendship and kinship that you may seek with other people. And then friendship doesn't seem quite so scarce because you've reached out and you've found it. So booktube, is just another way and another opportunity to do that. So the actual prompt to this one now is discuss a book that focuses primarily on friendship. So I chose a book that has an interesting friendship in it, and that is Again and Again by Jonathan Evison. This was the first book that I ever reviewed on my channel. It was the book of the month for November of 2023. And it's, probably not the best book that I ever read, but there is a very touching friendship in it between a caregiver and an elderly gentleman who is in a nursing facility. So that's a different kind of friendship, but it reminded me of the relationships that maybe I sometimes had over the years with my patients, and especially when people are at the end of their life. They can tell you some really interesting things. And some people have had a very interesting life. There's always more to people, I think, than what you commonly see on a day-to-day basis. So that kind of touched me a little bit in this book. So prompt number 4 is laughter. There's nothing like deep breaths after laughing that hard. Nothing in the world like a sore stomach for the right reason. And it is fun when you laugh so hard that your stomach hurts. And that's a quote from Stephen Chbosky from The Perks of Being a Wallflower, or a Wildflower, whatever. And the prompt is discuss an author or a specific book that makes you laugh. So probably one of the funniest books I've read this year is The Sisters Brothers by Patrick DeWitt. Now, I don't have a physical copy of it because I gave mine actually to a neighbor. In fact, I need to ask him how he liked the book. I'm kind of interested because he's probably read it by now. But anyway, I read that on a recommendation from Jay at Faceless Book Reviews, and it was definitely worth the time. It was a good book. So that was one of the funnier ones that I read this year. And I will put a link to Jay's channel in the description. So next is community. We cannot live only for ourselves. 1,000 fibers connect us with our fellow men. And that's a quote from Herman Melville. And the prompt is discuss a book where the idea of community is important. So I chose for that one Beartown by Frederick Bachman. This book really kind of demonstrates the good, the bad, and the ugly, unfortunately, about community. It talks about what's good about everybody caring so much about hockey and how there's ways that it brings them together, but then there's a price to pay for all of that as well. So it gives the other side of kind of, what's bad about it as well. But in all, very good book. Number 6 is discuss a communal reading experience that you have had. And so I've actually had a couple this year on BookTube that were very important to me. One was an opportunity to buddy read Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. I read this with Daniela at Uncommon Reader, and that was a good experience. We both really loved the book. And shortly after that, Mimi from It's Mimi Duong also read this book. And she enjoyed it as well. So it was nice to see their opinions about the same book that I had read around the same time. I've also read now a couple of books with Ellen from the Ellen Made Book Club. Again, there will be links below. One was A Man Called Huva, also by Frederick Bachman. Another one was The Wager by David Gran. And another was actually Beartown by Frederick Bachman. And then the first one that we read together, actually, so we've done this a few months. The first one that we read together is called Stolen. I'll show you the cover of that. I have it on my Kindle. That is by Anne Helene Lestadius. And now all of these were really fantastic books, but they definitely were made better for me by the experience of sharing them. Also, I have to say, it seems that many of my viewers really liked the videos that we did about those books. All received a lot of positive feedback and comments. I think viewers can kind of feel that camaraderie as well. So yeah, those were good. Okay, so now finally we have the seventh prompt. And the quote is from William Shakespeare, Twelfth Night. And it says, "I can no longer answer make, but thanks and thanks." So this is a prompt about gratitude. And it says, name a book in which a character demonstrates real gratitude, or name a book that left you feeling a sense of gratitude. Well, for that, I chose a book that I had read a little bit earlier this year. It's called Ghost Town Living by Brent Underwood. And I had really looked forward to this book. I was watching Brent's YouTube channel faithfully for several years. I don't watch it as much anymore because I spend a lot of time, working on my own channel and also watching other reading channels, book channels as well. But once in a while, I still kind of get caught up with Ghost Town Living. What Brent's doing there is he's involved with revitalizing a ghost town called Cerro Gordo in California. So I know he's grateful for all the help that he can get with all of his projects. And that's what makes the channel fun, is the process that he goes through to problem solve and those kinds of things, all the things that he has on his schedule. But not only is he grateful for the help, but he's also learned to be grateful for what he has day to day. I don't think that he would take things for granted with the way that he has to live there and has lived there for the past now almost 5 years. So a very interesting channel and a very interesting book. I will put links below. So now that brings us to the final prompt, which is to tag others to spread a sense of joy and gratitude. So if you're watching this, consider yourself tagged. And I know many of you know Pat. And if you don't, you best get over to her channel really fast because you're missing out. She's an excellent booktuber. She really loves books. She knows her stuff. And she loves to talk about the books. But I think overall, she really wants us to love the books too. She's a true teacher at heart. And so it's important to her that she's able to bring out the best in others. And even though there's a camera and a screen and the internet all in between us, her warmth still shines. In her videos, she always says, "I'm glad that you're here." Well, Pat, we're glad that you're here. Congratulations on your 2,000 subscribers. I'm proud to be your friend. So thanks for watching. If you like my channel, please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Come back when you can. And have a wonderful day. Take care.